Year 5, you absolutely at this point have to figure out what your retirement actually is going to cost you. You see, most people start with, hey, I've got, whatever the number, a million, half a million, etc., in my 401k, my IRAs, my retirement accounts overall. Can I retire? That's the number one question they ask me. Well, that's really the wrong first question. The first question should be, what is it going to cost you to live the retirement that you want? And remember, as I mentioned last Friday, I'm talking about a retirement that's, very common now to be 30 or 40 years. That's a long time. If you are healthy and you're retiring at a relatively young age, in your mid 60s, you stand the possibility to live as long in retirement as you have working. Isn't that scary? So you better become the king or the queen of cash flow and budgeting and so on and so forth. If not, God forbid, you find yourself in your 70s or 80s and there's no money left. So we start in that 5th year. That's when we, as I always like to tell the client, this is the year that we sharpen the pencil. We really make sure we understand how much we need, what the cost is going to be to live. And there's only one way to do it. It's that nasty B word, budget. So we build the budget. But not just a budget on your typical big items like mortgage and food and electricity and insurance, but I'm talking a real life budget. All those that I just mentioned, but again, real life, travel, eating out. Hey, you hopefully are going to have some great hobbies. They're probably not going to be cheap. We got to budget those in. One common thing I get a lot of times is, hey, you know what? I've driven the same car for the last 10, 15 years. This is going to be one of my rewards in retirement. I'm going to treat myself to a new car. Cool. We got a plan for it, though. We got a budget for it. Home repairs, you've heard me talk about this a million times. A lot of things have been building up over the years, and you finally are going to have the time in retirement. Again, home repairs, not cheap. Helping the children and the grandchildren. Oh, yeah. Remember, as I said also last Friday, kids automatically think that, and especially grandchildren, that grandma and grandpa or mom and dad are automatically rich because they were able to retire. They don't realize that you're going to be on a fixed income. They don't understand the 10, 20, 30 years of sacrifice you've made socking away money, riding markets up, riding markets down. So they think it's just a free ride. Hey, mom and dad got lucky. They got, a few bucks socked away. So, hey, I'm not going to hesitate to ask to borrow a few thousand here, a few thousand there. And geez, maybe, well, I just did it the other day. I gave my kids some decent sum of money for my grandchildren to go clothes shopping. You know what? It's expensive to go clothes shopping. So that was my way of kind of helping out as a grandparent. Obviously, healthcare, you know how expensive that is. Property taxes, insurance, entertainment, so on and so forth. Again, this is why I created the risk program that we have, RISC, the Retirement Income Savings Calculator, that you can request off our website at sanchezgaunt.com, because this is what it does. Remember, it breaks down, visualize a T. It breaks your budget down into a T. Upper left corner are all your fixed income items. Upper right corner are all your fixed expenses like mortgage, etc. The software then nets them out. Are we positive or negative cash flow on the fixed side? Then we move down to the bottom quarters of the T. Bottom left is variable income. What do we have coming in on variable side? Portfolio, etc. Conversely, on the right, bottom right, what do we have as far as variable expenses? We net those two numbers out because we need to see, God forbid, if we get into a bad market condition, which no one, thinks about when they're planning for retirement, but we do. What we have to think about is, hey, if we have to pull back on our variable expenses, we have to pull back probably because our variable income, we need to, watch that closely if we get into a declining market, and a good majority of people's variable income is coming in off the portfolio. So it's kind of a double hit. Well, okay, it's easy to reduce down your variable expenses, right? It really is. Okay, I'm not going to spend $500 a week on groceries. I'm going to drop it to $350. Okay, so maybe I got to go a year where I can't do a vacation, or so on and so forth. But the fixed side, that's a tougher one. That's a tougher one, right? We can't just all of a sudden say, hey, it's a bad economic condition and I'm retired, so I'm going to skip a month or two of my mortgage payment or my car payment. Can't do that. So you see, we want to try to have as much fixed income coming in so that we're not market and portfolio reliant. We want to know exactly what our fixed expenses are. And then, again, we take a look at the variable side. We net that variable income versus expenses out. And then we net the whole thing out. Overall, where are we? We positive or are we negative cash flow? So again, you have to do this getting ready in retirement that last year.